see view in the background. And
Yeah.
Vasily Ivanchuk, I can also show. Mr. Ivanchuk has just stood up from his board. He's playing against a young Indian prodigy. So we have many players from India, young, talented players. We shall see how Mr. Ivanchuk does today. It's not an easy start for him.
Yeah, it's probably going to be one of the most interesting games. In fact, they are playing very fast in a very theoretical variation of the Benoni. Already move 11 of black, and of course we will check not only the top players but also all these young, because probably you will have time later to tell to the audience, but we have here some of the best players in the world, under 11, under 12, and most of them are Indian. Huh? What's going on here? What happens with Russia, Mother Russia? Huh?
India is taking all over. The youth championships have been won by many Indian players, and as you mentioned, we have the number one player under 11, under 12, under 13, under 14, and under 15 we have the European champion Vincent Keimer, who won in Germany a very strong open tournament to qualify for the super tournament. But we shall talk about all those players later on. As we mentioned, the number one player is Dmitry Andreikin. We can go in order if you want, just to scroll through the openings quickly.
Yeah, Dmitry, he's playing white against some Catalan, Spanish amateur, and
Sreeshwan VS I will need to practice his name, because I'm afraid that we are going to hear a lot from this boy. I mean, I'm not afraid, but I'm predicting a bright future for this young prodigy.
How old is he? Do you have this data?
I'm going to tell you.
I'm so happy that you say the names. I mean, I'm so happy. Yeah. Well, I mean, let me talk a bit about Ivanchuk. I mean, because
oh, please, and your experience facing Ivanchuk.
Well, I mean, we are very good friends with Chucky. I mean, we know for a long time. He was playing in Spain, in fact, many times in some team championship, and I was taking him to my team. What can I say? I mean, he is a brilliant player. He was not world champion only because his nerves. I mean, when he was playing a very important events or playing very much under pressure, sometimes he was not able to control his nerves, and he was playing under his usual level. But from Ivanchuk, I can tell you a little anecdote which will show, especially young people who doesn't know very much about this player. On the 80s, we had two dominant players, everybody knows, Kasparov and Karpov. And they were winning almost all tournaments. And I remember Kasparov in Linares, usually he was very confident. I mean, but there was one opponent which was scary for Gary. And I could see him when he was playing with Ivanchuk, he was worried. I mean, he was kind of tense. And it was especially, I remember once when he was playing black, finally it was some King's Indian, some Samish attack. And Ivanchuk was very, very dangerous. And if you say that Kasparov was a bit scary of someone, this is already something very, very serious about a player. And we are very good friends. He's a very original, creative player. And I'm positive that the main organizer, Oscar, he was so happy when he got Ivanchuk for the tournament. I mean, you could not bring probably names like this Ukrainian Grandmaster. We will follow him very closely. Now look at the position. It's a Benoni. His opponent played very fast King H1, which it means that he knows what he's doing, this young player. Maralakshikari.
Yes, and he's 12 years old.
Only 12 years old. No, that's pretty dangerous because, okay, you look at his rating 22.44, but as far as he's 12 years old, you know that he didn't have time to reach his normal rating. Probably he may have a strength 2400, 2500, nobody knows. And of course, it's a very bad opponent. I mean, well, I mean, the opening that Ivanchuk chose, it's very dynamical, this Benoni. You can see that the black is dominating the queen side with 3 against 2. But white got a 5 against 4, and especially this very strong center, which maybe incredibly dangerous for an attack. In general, these positions are very difficult to play. Usually black is going to continue with something like c4 because he needs to have the square knight c5. He would like maybe to play some bishop to g4 or b7 and then the other knight to d7. He needs to develop this knight on b8, which at this moment its prospects look very bad. Huh?
That is true.
And white may try typical ideas are queen e1 to g3 or to h4 if black allows it. Some breaks with e5 or f5 at one moment, and sometimes simply developing bishop e3. Sometimes they play bishop e3 and bishop f2, and the bishop comes to h4. There are many ideas, and my board already full of arrows. So maybe
I love it when you highlight. I think it's good to see the strategy also visually on the board with arrows.
Okay, so we will now Ivanchuk is thinking, and we will come back to this game later. Do you want we check a little bit?
Yes, I think it's a good idea to go through the top boards. We're gonna have a look at the openings, but for now it looks like Mr. Ivanchuk's position will be promising in the middle game. It's going to be a complex game.
It's going to be a dynamic and tough battle. I have the feeling that it's not going to be easy for Ivanchuk, especially these young players. They usually play very well at the attack. Look, they are playing fast.
Yes, and c4 and knight c5 that you highlighted as the plan for black is already on the board.
c4 happened, okay. So probably the bishop will go to c2. Just
I think bishop
control.
c2 and knight c5.
Knight c5. This is a very typical and topical idea. Now black is ready sometimes to play b4. White has to be careful. If I would be white, I would like to play bishop e3. In my idea, probably to play bishop d4 and try to trade this bishop. This bishop on g7, it's extremely important because it's working on the attack on the queen side and also protecting the black's king. So bishop e3 d4 would be a very logical plan, but black may react with something like b4.
I think our young prodigy has already made a move, but it's not showing yet.
Maybe
here
a3, maybe he played a3 to control b4. Because here looks, there are some...
I think knight d4
he went knight d4?
Yes, after knight c5, knight d4.
And why so fast?
He played it very quickly.
Yeah,
he's very confident.
Yeah,
or
but this move is not... I mean, this is not... I don't like this move. You know why? Let's talk with the knight. Okay, the knight is going to tell you, look, I was so happy on f3, and now I'm here on d4, and this guy on g7 is, looking at me with a face, like a bloody face, and what is this? And what I'm doing here on d4? I cannot jump anywhere to c6. Now it's still under control.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would think a bit here. It's a very difficult position, and I'm very much surprised that knight d4 was played so fast. So, but maybe the guy, he knows something. I'm not saying it's a bad move. Who knows? But at least it's very committing, because if it doesn't work, what is the knight doing on d4? I mean, if rook e8, let's say, making some pressure on e4, now black wants to play b4 and to have e4 under attack. And then, okay, what is white going to do? I mean, if you're going to play a3, you could do it before. I mean, now black can continue developing the bishop. There are many moves, in fact. Even bishop g4 I could play here.
Yes, because the queen has to take care of the d4 knight.
Yeah, if take takes, and suddenly all black pieces are going to be nicely placed with knight to d7. Who knows? I mean, there is a mess, but look at, I mean, the bishop on... Did you see? My first feeling was to develop the bishop.
Indeed.
And his first feeling was to move a knight which was already well placed.
Yes.
The knight on f3 is doing a good job. I mean, taking under control square e5. I'm not sure. I mean, especially playing so fast, usually it's not so good. Unless your name is Vishianand. Then yes, then you can do whatever you like. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at some other games.
Yeah, Ivanchuk is using his time after knight d4, so we will come back to this game on board 2 later. On board 3, next to them, here on the camera we can see already with the white pieces, that is the European champion from 2016, Ernesto Inarkiev. He's facing Andreu Blasko-Kolen. Maybe you know, is he a local player?
A local player, yes. His rating not very high, I think 22 something. Well, it's being a Karokan, and I remember playing this with black with Inarkiev some years ago. Yeah. It's a bad memory for me because I got a fantastic position with black, very comfortable, and I managed to lose somehow. It was probably also he helping me a bit too. In that game, it was some team championship maybe 10 years ago.
The exact same variation of the Caracan?
Yeah, precisely this variation. Yes,
wow.
E5, and I'm not sure he played knight d2. I mean, it's already a long time, but in fact, he's an expert on this line, and he's using a different strategy like Andrei King. I mean, Dmitry, he's playing something very neutral, let's say discreti.
Yeah.
And then Ernesto Inarkiev, he doesn't care that his opponent is well prepared. I mean, he's playing his pet lines.
Yes.
And there are two different approaches, and both may work. Usually, the stronger player is going to win in both with both strategies.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how different players approach the same situation. Well, I mean, so far nothing happened. I mean, because this is a very well-known line. Black is trying to play c5 at one point. He has to be careful because he's a bit undeveloped. I mean, and if the game gets open with c5, let's say some c4 one day, white will castle very fast and black may stay with the king on the center, and that's bad news. In fact, c5 probably it's not so good now because after take, some knight is going to jump to d4 with some pressure here, some pressure on f5, and also the bishop may be going to b5 with check, and this looks a bit dangerous for black. I don't remember my game, and in fact, I don't want to remember it.
Don't worry, Miguel, we will not ask you about it.
But okay, they played some moves. I mean, in fact, after knight d7, knight f3, black went knight e7, trying to develop. This plan, I don't quite like it. I know it's normal to bring the knight to c8 because, of course, you need to do something with the knight because you want to move the bishop.
Yes. Why don't you like knight c8?
Because, I mean, I think the battle is going to be quite serious on the king side. So I saw some players who play h6 and then move the bishop away, and then the knight may go to g6 or f5. I think this is a more logical way to develop. So you keep an eye on the queen side, on the king side, and very often this knight goes finally to h4, so you can trade it. And this is something which black could be very happy to trade pieces because look, I mean, he has no space. So when you have a small flat, you cannot have.
You don't buy more furniture.
Yeah, you cannot have 5 children. So in this case, black needs to trade some pieces, and with knight c8, he's going to suffer this small flat for a long time. And well, look, this a4 to say hello to the knight, it's kind of welcome.
Yeah, welcome to b6 and then go back to c8.
Yeah, so black is kind of forced to play a5, and this is a bad news strategically because the day black needs to break on c5, there will be a hole.
Yeah.
So in general, if you want to play c5, you don't want to play a5. But all these things, a 2700 player like Inarkiev, he knows well, and his opponent, I'm not so sure he knows what's going on, but I'm a bit pessimistic about this game for black already because white is getting the kind of game he wants. Black is not fighting for the center, and white is developing in a very nice way.
Yeah, it's a very natural way why the black knight on b6, I agree with you, it's shooting thin air. There's nothing to attack on the queen side, and on the king side he will be lacking pieces too.
Yeah, the only thing I see is that if white develops normally, maybe black can jump. And then, okay, I mean, it's not so easy to fight against this knight on c4 because to take this bishop is too important, and black can probably protect this pawn with b5 or even knight b6, and black would be all right. So maybe now black wants to play some knight to c4, but it's if it doesn't work or if white handles, let's say he moves the knight away, plays b3, and then game is kind of over. I don't know. We will see. I mean, I'm happy that they have to play. It's not me who has to play. So let them find the moves, and then. Well, in fact, he played very fast. Look,
what was his
move? He already played knight e1.
Okay, knight e1, and we have a move from his opponent too that will appear on our board very shortly.
He played fast.
Yes, relatively quickly.
Well, the idea of knight e1 probably is to play knight d3, and then both knights control the square on c5. Black will have a very difficult task to make his typical break on the center. And then, okay, later white can continue development once the knight, and even start to move his pawns in front of the king. But of course, he will not hurry. I mean, you need to wait. Black needs to do something. I mean, where is black king going to castle?
Yeah.
Most probably on the king's side, and then at that moment, white may launch an attack.
I think it's bishop e7, if I see the camera correctly, that
yes.
he has played, which is a logical developing move,
Yes,
of course.
Absolutely. Okay, this is going to be a slow game. We can come back later. I mean, nothing very exciting is going on, so let's maybe have a look at some of the games.
Let's continue our tour to board 4. On board 4.
In the meantime, I don't know if we have moves from
Ivanchuk. The board of Ivanchuk. It's a good idea to come back, so we are now looking at board 2 again.
Is it live? No, this is probably not, because this was the line I was giving before.
Yes, I think you just need to refresh the game.
Okay, maybe let me see. I made double click. Maybe not. Or maybe they are playing this position, who knows?
Is it? Wait a second.
Is it possible? I don't think so.
Well, actually, yes. This is the position.
But then it looks like I should play lottery. No?
Aren't you playing lottery already?
Yeah, I never play lottery. But
Miguel, what are you doing with your life? I mean, look at this. You predicted the exact same position.
Well, I mean, I said like what I would play if I would be a blitz. But,
here it goes, it's on the board. Miguel Illescas predicting the exact same variation, and now in this position white played f5, bishop takes d4 and f5, I think was the move of white.
Well, I mean, this is all or nothing. I mean, if white doesn't mate, he's going to lose the game, because now he's leaving so many holes.
Yeah, the dark squares are
the dark squares are incredibly weak. The bishop on c2 is really a dead piece. And if white doesn't mate, and how to mate? You don't have the knight, you don't have the bishop. You only can try to mate with the other bishop, jump into, go into g5 very fast. In my opinion, this is not going to work. I mean, and why this young guy, he's playing so fast? I mean, what is, maybe they have some video game at 5 or some football. I don't understand it. I mean, you're playing with Vasily Ivanchuk. I mean, this is not the school's game. I mean,
of course. Do you think there's any chance that this is still some kind of a preparation of the Indian boy, or otherwise why would he play so quickly?
Okay, I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to believe that white is going to win here, because, okay, knight d7, let's have a look, some moves. Okay, if you play f5, you want to take, I guess. Then, okay, I can take with both, but let's say take, or maybe bishop g5 here. Or maybe he wants to play bishop g5 immediately. But black has so many moves. Look, black can start to jump. He can play, every move is possible. Bishop f6, f6. When there are so many moves, usually it means that black is fine. I mean,
it's a variety of options for black.
Yeah, if you are attacking, you need your opponent to have 1 or 2 moves, because if he has 10 moves, it means your attack is not really scary. You know? He can do almost anything he likes. So here, I don't know. I mean, I would, I don't know. I would even offer maybe bishop f6 just to trade bishops. I would be happy to trade these bishops.
Yeah, as you mentioned, if the bishop, the dark squared bishop of white is off the board, then the c2 bishop is not going to give mate. So it's completely blocked by white's own pawns e4 and f5. This is very puzzling why he played so quickly. So it's a 12-year-old Indian prodigy on board 2 facing Vasily Ivanchuk, and Sreeshwan has spent almost no time reaching this position. Very aggressive play by white, and as you mentioned, it's all or nothing. If there's no mate, his position has been weakened so much that he cannot do anything about the c2 bishop and the pawn chain.
Yeah. I think Vasily is kind of impressed, no? Why is this young boy playing so fast against me? What did I do? Huh? Do I deserve to be treated like this? I mean...
No respect.
No respect at all. But in fact, okay, what I say is that strategically it looks completely rubbish. I mean, what is white doing? I mean, you should never play like this. I mean, without these 2 pieces, it's going to be impossible to mate. I mean, if white could bring his knight to e4, but even that is not possible. I mean, if e5 to jump knight e4, but the knight on c5 is controlling everything. So, I don't know. I'm very pessimistic for the future of this game for white.
Yeah, I think we'll come back to this game very often because it's so exciting. The position, of course, is very dynamic. and we shall see what White will come up with, how Ivanchuk will respond. But for now, I agree with you that I don't see why to play so fast, first of all, and why play so aggressive and go all in against Ivanchuk.
Yeah, maybe these Indian boys, they have the shadow of Vishy Anand, I mean, and they want to emulate their idol. I remember Anand playing so fast. At the beginning, he was even sometimes blundering some pieces. A friend of mine, he beat Anand, and he was a much weaker player than Vishy, but Anand simply, he blundered in a Sveshnikov on move 12.
Because he played too quickly.
Yeah, he was playing so fast. But, well, I mean, this is not something that mortals can do. I mean, this is only for almost gods like Anand. So, okay, so you want to check some other players?
Let's see board 4 and board 5, but we will come back to board 2 very often, since this game is really exciting, of course. So Ivanchuk's game will be one of our main game of the day. On board 4, we have another Indian player with the black pieces, Krishnan Sasikiran, facing Siddharth Jagadish.
Okay, I have that game on board 5, but doesn't matter. I have Romain Garcia Trovat, probably board 4, at board 5, Sasikiran. Probably Sasikiran is higher.
Yes,
rated. Let's have a look at Ivanchuk, because something's going on here.
Let's go back to Ivanchuk for a moment.
White sacrifice a piece without thinking. What's going on here? Okay, let's have a look.
So quick. Is it that he's already ready for the Night Blitz tournament? Because
or maybe it's still part of his preparation. That would be amazing. I mean, if he's so well prepared. Take. He went e5. This is the only explanation to his strategy. He cannot wait for black to jump with the knight. That would be completely finished. The game would be over. And then, okay, he played well, e5. This is a good move, for sure. I mean, if white is going to lose, he has to lose playing good moves. And then, okay, e5. Then black has to take, and bishop g6. Yeah, black needs to take with the bishop, because the bishop is under attack. Yeah.
So
and then,
d takes e5 was the other option,
bishop
but
g6.
Bishop e5. And bishop takes g6, a piece sacrifice by 12-year-old
And now we understand it's all preparation and it's going to be a draw. Yeah, that's
Perpetual check.
Yes, oh my God. It's
Whoa, what a preparation. It's a 22-move preparation by 12-year-old Sreeshwan facing Ivanchuk.
Yeah, this is going to be a draw, and let's have a look at king h7. It looks like it's also going to be a draw, because I think after check, for example, Black cannot play bishop h6, and it's a draw. So
indeed,
they are going
h5 is on the board and king g8 back.
Amazing. So I have to
what a preparation.
To take all my words back.
No,
so if you want to
Miguel,
take
you still had a point, because normally white doesn't play for a draw. But here we have a 2,200 rated player, 12-year-old boy from India, facing a legend, Vasily Ivanchuk. So he got to the game thinking a draw is a good result. And that's not normally what white wants.
I don't know. Still, here, it's clear that after knight d7 take, there is nothing to do. I mean, he took e5. Already the game is over. I mean, it's if the bishop would not be hanging, Black could take knight takes e5. So here it comes an idea. Why not maybe first to take on c3 and then play knight d7? That would be an idea. If white now takes e5, knight e5, black is winning. So no time. The bishop on c2 is a terrible piece, so white needs to do something. What? He can play f6.
Miguel, I think we have a move, and it's not check on f7,
maybe
but
he wants
bishop
to win.
to g5.
Maybe he has
the
a preparation.
The 12-year-old boy is continuing the game. He's not going for the draw.
So couple of checks. He was proving himself that he has a draw, and now he plays bishop g5.
Wow.
And
the
maybe
game
he
goes
wants
on.
more. Maybe he wants more. Maybe this is a serious preparation, and maybe Ivanchuk underestimated.
Queen to c8 was played with queen f7 check, king h8.
But maybe some rook may come to f4, and this is going to be mate.
Oh my.
What is this?
It would be.
Everybody's
looking at this game. That's why we can't see it. Everybody is blocking the way of the camera at this moment.
But what about now something like rook f4? I mean, I would be very much worried. Maybe knight f8, knight h7. Maybe he's in time to save the mate with a move like knight f8, but then check, and then queen g6, and this looks kind of over. Oh my God! Ivanchuk may lose this game. No. Oh my God.
What is going on?
Rook f4, and I don't see a defense.
12-year-old Sreeshwan on board 2, facing one of the top players of the Sunway Sitges festival, Vasily Ivanchuk, world rapid champion from 2016, and just in general a very strong top 10 player all his life. He was caught in preparation.
But this can be a sensation. I mean, and now we understand why this young guy was playing so fast.
He knows it all.
It was a home preparation. Oh my God. Okay, I still have my doubts about the soundness of this way to play, but rook f4, he's going to win.
On the board.
No, this is over. I mean, oh my God, Ivanchuk is going to lose on the first game, and this is going to be already. Well, I mean, I think Vasya here understands. It's time to resign.
Goodness me! What a preparation by 12-year-old Sreeshwan, facing the legend Vasily Ivanchuk and out preparing him
completely. In fact, I mean, he didn't think at all in this game. Well,
Ivanchuk resigns. The first result of the tournament, a victory for 12-year-old Sreeshwan Shikari, beating number 2 Vasily Ivanchuk from preparation. He hasn't made a single move, but it's a brilliant preparation. So, of course, all credit to the young boy. Yeah,
I feel a bit guilty because Ivanchuk was playing the moves I suggested. Maybe it's my fault. He lost, but really, I'm in shock.
I'm in shock as well. But what an excellent preparation, of course. It's all homework, all well done by the Indian boy. He has done an amazing job preparing for today's game.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of questions open. I mean, black could play bishop e5 to block, for example, on move 17. And then it's the question if white is in time to create some mating threats with these pieces. Maybe he is. In fact, maybe his idea, rook f3, the other rook comes to f1, the rook comes to h3. Maybe this is a deeper preparation, and maybe I really underestimated this way to play. I mean, it's clear that it looks very ugly, and that made probably Ivanchuk to be overconfident.
Yes.
It looks like, this opponent, he's playing like a patzer.
He doesn't know what he's doing. He's weakening all the dark squares. It was very concrete. You said it was all in, and yes, it only works with this very precise variation, taking on g6 and e5. But it's not a sound system. It's not a natural way of playing.
Yeah, well, he was thinking 4 minutes after queen takes g4. I mean, when Vasily played bishop g4.
Maybe to show that it's not his preparation?
No, okay, he was maybe thinking. But of course, I mean, I think Vasily, he didn't see the idea e5. It's clear to me that he didn't realize that white has this move e5.
Yes.
Suddenly everything becomes clear. I mean, the bishop is heading to g6, and black is simply not in time to defend, or at least in the game he wasn't. I mean, here it's already difficult to offer a move because black has to take. Otherwise, if king h8, simply bishop takes e8. So after taking, everything becomes clear. I mean, white is better, and after bishop g5, probably rook e7 maybe was a better way to play. But it looks already dangerous. I mean, there are different ways to play here, but maybe this was better. Maybe queen h4 looks really dangerous for black.
Yes, very suspicious.
Yes, I would like to stop this bishop taking on g6 somehow.
To avoid e5.
To avoid it, yeah, somehow. I mean, this move knight d7, maybe it's over-optimistic. Maybe black needs to do something different. Of course, not easy to say. I mean, if bishop e5 is working, this would be an idea just to stop e5. I said before bishop takes e3. This is also possible, knight d7. But of course, it's a bit scary that black, I mean, white may sometimes play bishop g5, f6, queen h4, rook f3. It's a bit scary, I have to admit. It looks much more dangerous than now that we spend some time. I don't know if we will have the chance to interview this
It would be great if he could join us in the studio, so we hope that the young Sreeshwan Shikari, I will need to practice his name because we are going to be talking about him in the coming days as well. What a brilliant preparation. It's not easy to catch a 2700 Grandmaster out of the book. Like, it's not normal at all.
In fact, I mean, I never saw this this variation played like this. This move knight d4 looks really strange. And, well, I'm sure Ivanchuk, he simply got overconfident. I mean, he thought, okay, what is this? This bishop on c2 is very bad. It's not going to work for white, no pieces to attack. But then after e5...
And that c2 bishop that was dead ended up being sacrificed on g6.
Yeah, and black is not in time to use his good pieces. I mean, the pieces are beautiful, but they are not in time to use the e5 square, and white is lost. I'm checking this game.
In 40 minutes the game was over, so it's the first decisive result. Vasily Ivanchuk loses to 12-year-old Sreeshwan Shikari on board 2, and now we are looking at board 3, which is played by Ernesto Kiev against Andreu Blasko-Kol.